Ava goat. Wij are rummet dit bu noise from the utside and noise from witten. A variable is talking, so kial media, news fates. Ava goat. Expectations, opinions, performance, perfection, it alblento are constant humtat drovens alcledenti and truth. Ava goat. In our world so full of sound, we have groven uzate to hearing, everything, except factually matters. Ava goat. Boot real truth. Doesn't need to scram. He doesn't dance for attention. He doesn't have it to trend. Go viral. Good. Or be dressed up in filters and fancy language. Trevispas and stilschattes illusions. He could stay per ton pommens. Over goat. Ludaton aplosa and more prekisatan aniting core pulls hate. Trut kuts truk the moise because he cut his weight. And when it lands, it hits differently. We will become addicted to the zurfake. Addicted to highlight reels and holof affirmations. A goat. We like inspirationes to digest and scroll past. Boot trut is confrontational. It doesn't collude insecurities, it exposes tame. It does flatter your ego, it shelling is eat. A goat. Trut tells you no just what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And that's why so many pay up lavo eat goat. Because the truth doesn't just change your mode. It changes your direction. It demons are responsive. Kaiva goat. You can unhear it once it's been spoken. And you can't unfeel it once it's stirred your soul. A goat. That's the power of real truth. Not the kind you find on bumper stickers. But the kind born from Live Experience, Rafine in Pine. And anchorate in divine wisdom. Truth struck the noise of vain eats spoken from the fear. I got good. When it's poured out from so meone vos being truk so meeting at. Because of a gate more actos on stagus. They nate more of variors with scars. People vok no va eats like to lose a veriting. The goat. Question a veriting wrestle with going still stand up and say, but im still here. A tot kind of truth is here. It's not rare zate. It's a content. It's for the valais in hospital rooms, in betrayals, in zilenters no onases. God. When Zomeona speaks from top plaka, it doesn't land in you and you, the ARs, it lands in your spirit of a goat. And it zelenkas very li juve believing. That's where the most powerful words don't need an audience, they need authenticity. On a voice speaking from aliment with goat condo more ton voices shazzing applause. Because the truth is eternal, I have a goat. Truth resonaskins trends. It tops into zomating fargreer ton kultura. It connects with purposes of a goat. Zoma of the most leaf is shifting moppen in Zeelenke. No, because of the speaker vas loot. Boot because the message vas real. A goat. You knof top moment when your head starts racking, when the tears come before you even knof vu a goat. When everything around you fathers and zuleansin. Tats when truth heats. Tats when ik could struck a very distraction. A very duped, a very dave mechanism you've built. Not to destroy you, but to deliver you. The truth does apologitza. It does ask permission to offer you comfort zone. It welks in uninvitate. Go and turns on the lights in the room you've kept dark for long. And once tart light shows up, a veriting shine us out. You can't go back to pretending. You can keep playing the Zama roller in the Zama story, zomating in you avakins out. So if you went to lay of our mark, don't impress, I'm to be honest. If you went to move pale plus a goat, don't fuck up our passion, speak from you procast, spur pace, sprim your priors. When you show up with truth, a goat, you become the voice taught breaks the pattern, no because you ver loot, but because you ver real, of a goat. Real kust struck a verding et tifikial, and in our world drovning in noise realness is radical. Truth is revolutionary, I does ne hyper, just need so meona brava, enuk to speak, I terias a power tat, leave us in zida you story, a goat. Boot no use the pats vera you triumphate, especially the pats vera you blades, vera you broca, vera you almost gava oop, a goat. The vol does need more pulse hate performances, it needs more people who are willing to stand up and say, Eva bain terror, and be the grok of goat, I mada eat truk, a goat. We live in our culture opposite with zukes, with highlight rails and perfection, with pretending a veritings alwijs okay of good. But real healing doesn't come from what you project. It comes from what you've zovivet. Wenn you cause to speak no just from you wisdom, but from your wounds, you become a living testimony. No sermon, no das slogan gut. Welking breaking revelation of vaker kando. Terror people right now sitting in Zeelenke, sitting in Shama gut. Wandering eventueel ever gate truck wat tire fucking gut. And the enemy would love to came isolated, ticking tire the only owner. Thinking no one else understands gut. That's where your voice matters. That's where your pine has purpose. When you open muk you and tell the truth about you, note the filterate version, but the rough, ugly, arrive gut. Real parts. You trof open a door for zo'n else te welk truc. You lay tem knof tire modalona. Tad zo viving is possible. Tad hailing is nood aan it. You show tem top brokenness is the end of the road, but beginning of zo mating new. And you do eat not book voting scriptures or eating cliches, but bu buying the evidenke of a goat. It's no easy to speak from the pine uvas of evade. Eat rekvirus kuraga, vulnerability. A willingness to relieve moments you'd rather forget. But a very time you do. You talk a back power from the thing taught once it tree to destroy you. You transform it from a veveapon of shama into a well of wisdom, a goat. And in doing so, you become the hands and fate of hope. Peopla aren't healate buteris. Tire healate butrut. The kind of truth taught zeis, evas depressate, evas addict lust, evas angry, evas on the edge. And God still may tears, goat. You may not think your story is significant, but to zomeone else it's liefezaving, because of een use even zomermating heart. It's no use for you. God just bring you truck the fear to prove he can. He brings you truck so you can be our voice for zomeone still in the flammes of a goat. And when you speak from top plaka, not for attention, but from conviction, zo meeting zacrate happens. Vals fall shines break. Herz open. Bekelling staat as you're not used to recounting events. Aring to rake have a goat. You're realizing the anointing taught was for me in your struggle. Your story becomes our ministry. Your pine becomes our platform. And your scars become a zigens taught hailing Israel. You see it's asked to speak from knowledge and non can memorize lines. But when you speak from experience, from the pit you talk to in it's hardest a vegt a depths, tat no textbook can teach. Tat sets you apart. Tats fratulences de Rome. You're not a cheating fats, you're a shine freedom. And the beautiful. Paradoxal thinkis, de very platze tat hoort your most betsome, de platze got uses de most. Der pine jod vold go avai betsome, de testimony tat unlux helling in osers. Tats not so incidenze. Tats divine strategie purpose. Go dost vaste pine. Here dames it repurposes, it and 10 calls you to speak from it. So speak up. Not betause jove master life, but betause jove survivet some of it. Speak up betause some one else is drovning in Shilense, and your voice migt bede lifeline te dik noft te nedet. Speak nimpreses buto invite osers to hell, to be honest, to believe again. Betause your survival is not use of God's power. It's permission for someone else to begging te healing your nato you impress day. Vorn vis performance. But you can only impact it vis purpose. We've been talk to master destage, to craft de image, to rehearse the part from an early arrege, that I told to perform in show in our families on platforms, and even in our face, perform well in og. Te sayan maybe you'll be accepted, maybe you'll be sin, maybe you'll be nog, but the truth is, performance miggen but it does tsarian veikt, performance is loud, but purpose is louder. Performance faders friend despotlik turns off, but spof, but purpose who as long defsterge is gone, and fen you will leave it long and ogt. You start to recognize the difference between people forme for are perflauxe and tosef ho are valkinking in vine purpose. See, purpose doest need permission, it doest need validation, it doest wait for everyone to club before it moves. When you are valkinking purpose, you don't need to convince a people, your fruit speaks for itself, your consistency, your haratstel, your endurance, tosse erlude tane mits, brickig der tan an licht, stronger tan an hippet. Some of the most powerful voices are in the honest on platforms, ter the honest living purpose behind the scenes. The most rising a hilt fan no one says at Trifice. The manner building after losing everything. The young adult horsing harats their over short suits. That's purpose in motion. And it might not low glamorous, but having says it, having bats it, having moves strog it. You can rehearse a performance per facke passion, but you cannot fabricare purpose. Purpose comes from a place so deep inside you, it can't be duplicated. It's forgetting moment prior, in seasons of struggle, in times when no one was watching but God. Purpose is the yes you gave him when you had a very reason to quit. Purpose is the decision to show broken tiret unsure but show utschoffanevai. And here is the difference. Performance has its applause. Purpose is a segment. Performance advance to be impressive. Purpose advance to be impactful. On affects your ego. The also affects your calling. And when you're truly walking in purpose, you stop living to impress people and start living to serve him. But also purpose is about you. It was never meant to be. Purpose flows strong yo, but it's not about splitting yo. It's about a loving God to use your life to illuminate something greater than you. Performance size bolokak me. I purpose size. But let me point out of matters. And the will think is, once you walk in purpose, you realize performance was always too small. It's exhausting. It's unstable. You're always got as your last show, last post. Your last moment. But purpose is stated. It doesn't hang with seasons for lovers or lickers. Purpose is fragile. Purpose is rotted. Terrare popular understand njovun young purpose betause te only cough to perform. Don't let their confusion distress you. Stay for zuset. Stay grund. You veren kallet to entertain. You vere kallet to transform. And transformation does come from being eluded in the realm. It comes from being the most surrendered. Some of the most anointed moments don't come from the best performers. They come from the most obedient vessels. People are willing to show off up even when they're not surrendered. People say when it does make sense. People fallen into purpose even when the craft is shilent. That's when power shows up. That's when healing happens. That's when Heinz break. Not betause of perfect delivery, but betause dem sage came from a deeper place, from fear, from obedience. So viele oss are rehearsing tailiness, Jesus stay closer to this urce. Viele osses has a platforms got. You stand in your segment, betause at the end of the day, performance mixed entertain people, but purpose transforms them got. And fatis volt nets is more noise. It needs more people on fire vis purpose live in a world trying to look for the moment. The likstage, the standing ovation, the perfect for the pollution and unsemen got. The higlich real tap makes a very honest stop and notice. But the truth is, the moments that shift lives, the honest that hang yo at the soul level, rarely begging vis applause, te begging in silence, in discomforts, in stillness. Think back to the moments in your life that truly transform it yo. They weren't the loud honest, they weren't the parties or the celebrations. They were the nights yo creal on it. The mornings yo didn't went to get out of bed but the The moments no one safe but God did. And those were the moments that built your strengths, that reveal your identity, that show you a vacket to your purpose. Applause doesn't build haratster, obscurity does. Platforms don't make you powerful, pursue does. The shift does start when everyone is clapping. It starts when you say yes. In the silence, when you trust God in the unknown, when you decide to keep walking even when tentes no affirmation, no recognition God, no promise of reward. And it's hard, but so everything around us tells us success is mehr surret befat people can see. But God walks in the unseen. God does wait for a craft to start a miracle. He often starts it in a tave, in a prison, in a valley, in a hospital room, in a season of loss. In that kind of moment, you volt wish on a new honor. But that's exactly where your starts to shift. You don't need a spotlight to be significant. You don't need applause to be anointed. Jo valo doist begin fan poplar et sognize jo, it begins fan God calls jo. And this call is not always loud, it's often a fisper. A steering, a borden jo can't shake, a pine tattoons into purpose God. A knowing in your spirit tat jo vere created for more, even if you can't prove it yet. De world celebrates de utsomet. But heaven honors the obedience. Tat mans the moment jo sight yes fen jo vere still seret, still broken, still uncertain, heaven talk notice. Tat was the shift, tat was the beginning. And nobody had to see it for it to be saturated. Some of the greatest moves of God begging in private. No vis praise, but vis pain, not vis perfection, but vis surrender. It's in the uncelebrated metamorphosis forget. It's in the inbedwing fair your identity is revealed. You learn more in the shilensetan you will in the spotlight. But south if hen no one is clapping and you still kept going, motive is purified. Tats fan your heratster is tested. Tats fan your face groves rots. Wenn der Applaus confirm der shift, bud God doest work on the volts timeline God. Just bezause nobody toest mehr nothing happenet. Just bezause no on a notice doest mehr nit was divine. There are shifts happening in your life right enough, shifts in your spirit, in your mindset, in your direction, and they are not loud, but they are real. They are not public, but powerful. Some people won't recognize the shift until they see the fruit. But don't let them in applause discourage your discipline. Keep showing up, keep solving, keep growing. You're not doing it for the craft, you're doing it for the calling. And the calling often shows up long before the congratulations. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need affirmation to keep going. If God is shifting something in you, lean into it. The applause will come later, but the transformation begins now. And that's fat last. Not the claps it, not the compliments. The shift that hangs your life begins in the moment when you horse obedience over utsomet, surrender over visibility. Po rupose of performance your voice wasn't given to so you so du sold impress people. It was given who so you impact stem God. Your voice is not at all for self-promotion. It is a divine vessel shaped by your experiences, refined by your pain. And feel it vissa purpose tat reaches voorbij und applause. In a vol obsessed vis imaget. It's asset to confuse visibility vis value. E asset to belieda de luder yo are, de more your heart. But true power doest come from volumen, it comes surrendered. It comes from understanding that your voice et is vekt, not betause of hof mani pople full of yo. But betause of willing, you're to beuset besomessing greater than yourself. Your voice has been formed in the fiat. Not on the stage, but in the shadows. It's been sharpened through a very disappointment, you've endured. A very headbreak, you've survived. A very valley, you've welke trok hen, no one else was terror. Your voice holds the echo of your survival. It holds the evidence of your healing. And when you speak from that place, not place of ego Buddha place of pasi, you don't use talk at people. You speak into terms. That's fat, makes it a vessel. Vessel don't you defere poet. Te simply tarif hats in seed art. And the more surrendered the vessel, the more powerful the fluff. The more healed you are, the more clearly your voice can tell truth art. The more you are, the more deeply your words can reach others. God does need perfect performers. He needs willing vessels. God. Very created to perform, very created to pour. That's who you can afford to let companionship rob you of your calling, God. Your voice always have to sound like it is to be effective. It does have to polish it to be powerful. You don't need a platform to speak so sorite. You use net purpose. But how if your voice is wrought in so messing eternat. It's is more etern sound, it's is speed. Den är våld love for you to stay viet. To stay in sitt suret. To believe del yet tat your voice unless does it's being validated by people. But validation did give you your voice and validation can take it away. Fat you've been through gave depths. Fat you've over some gave vekt. En för ju tar enough in your tonne to truth in your testimony can break heinz in oss purpose lives. You don't speak for entertainment, you speak for liberation. You speak to remind the broken tatere not alone, God. You speak to pull up out of the very pit you once had to climb out of. And kind of poverty comes from talent, it comes from trust. From trusting the God for gave you the voice God. Trusting the process that shaped it and trusting that it will reach for its man to reach. Your voice is abridged. I could net store betting pine and promise. Betting questions and healing, betting despair and hope. You don't need to embellish it, exaggerate it or decorate it. You just need to sit honestly, humbly. Some of the most powerful things you'll ever say when it comes from most. Tale come from your spirit. Tale come in the pauses, in the tears, in the moments when your soul speaks louder than your lips. And when your voice becomes a vessel like a tat, when it's no longer about performance and all about purpose. People want you hear yo. Tell fail yo. That's the kind of which a tat shifts roams. Tat silences no ise. Tat penetrates vals. Not betause it was lot, but betause it was real. Betause it was surrendered. Betause it sorry heavens waked. Betause it was willing to be a vessel instead of a schaftsase.